Alright.
Hello.
Hello everyone, welcome to Altacast numero 9.
Maybe we should start doing vocal exercises
before we get right in there.
Yeah.
Beep beep.
I don't know how that goes.
Alright, oh, is that the singing thing?
That's from, I don't know, that was in High School Musical.
There's no like...
Anyway,
welcome to Altacast number X. I don't know what
is
the
that a
number
10 or just you don't know the number?
I don't know the number, right? So I guess it's like that. Like math symbols.
Why is so sore today? I don't know what I did. Is it red? It's not.
It's a little red. It's a little pink around the outside.
Oh, I think I poked it.
Yep. So today we got a special topic that we'll get to after we talk about what the team's doing. But today we want to talk a bit about things like alchemy and flowers that you'll find in the forest. So yeah, look forward to that coming a little later. But for now, let's get a quick update on what everyone's been doing. Joel, what have you been up to?
We have been filling the forest with a bit of life right now. Well, right now we actually have creatures walking around the forest. We've got a lot of bugs with creatures walking around the forest, but we're working on them.
We're building right now to see if we fix some of them.
But yeah, so like 2 weeks ago we had nothing walking around.
Yep.
It was very still. The only things that moved was
like
bushes.
The leaves and bushes.
Before we had bushes, it was really, really dead. Bushes kind of made it feel a bit more alive, but now we have signs of life, and you can hear go-terrors shooting spriggles and squawks of unhappiness.
Yeah.
We've sort of improved the ways creatures respond to each other. Before they wouldn't actually, creatures can be aggroed, but before it was only by players. We fixed that up so that they can actually, that might be something that goes to main branch.
There might be some stuff we might, some fixes, some changes we might port over, but one of the things, for example, is right now you see two robotas and worms fight together, for example. But it was actually technically impossible for a worm to accidentally spit at a turbata that was far away, and then for the turbata to get aggroed at that worm.
Yeah.
It had no concept of like who attacked it, and that was something we realized when we were flying through the forest.
We were just watching why these spriggles just happily getting shot at.
They were happily getting shot by go-terrors, and we come across, we'd go down these paths in the forest, and they'd just be like feathers and meat left all over the place. That brought about some tweaks with AIs that we might see come into main.
But yeah, having more life is great. Firstly, it's the first threat in the forest. I think is actually something big as well.
It's the first thing that might slow you down on your way.
We're not just walking through. You can die now. From something other than falling off a cliff.
Yeah, there's no collision.
Yeah. So that's what I've mainly been up to, and Boramy obviously
as well. So me and Joel were working on that. Serena's trudging through on more cosmetic stuff. We're building a pretty good backlog, both of like stuff that you guys haven't seen yet, as well as the fact that we've been doing rotations for almost a year. Then I think about it, like about 3 months. We're about 9 months in, 9 to 10 months in.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good. It feels like just like yesterday that we started.
July, I think.
Is it July? Oh, maybe end of June to start of July.
June.
But yeah, so
we're gonna have some good 1 year cosmetics for me. I expect some high tier cosmetics.
Oh, for the 1 year anniversary.
For the 1 year anniversary. Yeah.
We're gonna have so many anniversaries to celebrate for Township Tale and Alta and cosmetics and the Turbata update anniversary and anniversaries for every update that we've had so far.
Yeah.
but yeah, so she's working on that. Soon, hopefully, she'll be able to dabble a bit in the creature that we talked about, the dice that she was working on. And yeah, that's that. Victor's still away for this week. He's coming back next week to kind of sort of throw out some feelers and optimization things. So he's gonna come back to kind of this very technical process for Township Tale in the game. So things are gonna be a bit quiet from him, I think, for a while.
Timo's just been doing miscellaneous server stuff since he came back, so nothing like notable at this point there. Timo's been organising flights to go to GDC,
and they're not good.
And then there's coronavirus, and Timo's not going to GDC anymore. We've been looking into merchandise.
Oh yeah, there's a bit of look into merchandising. So we collected some shirts that are Australian made, that are the quality that we like, and then I think Serena's going to send them over to some of the people we're talking to about getting them made. But it's just kind of seeing what
for a cheaper price.
For a way cheaper price. These t-shirts were hella expensive.
Yeah, we don't want people paying $100 for a shirt.
But yeah.
I mean, unless you want to pay $100 for a shirt. But we'll still want them cheap for us.
I'll grab one of the shirts and.
Oh wow! This is.
It's a visual Altacast.
Okay, close the door. Okay, so this is a message from me to you. If you work in an office where someone brings in milk, right, and they like milk in their coffee, don't drink their milk. Oh my goodness! I don't like coffee without milk, and I made this coffee, and then there was.
What are you talking about? It looks more suspicious if you stop talking about it.
I think you showed our address.
I'll beat that out if it appears in the video.
Yeah.
All right.
I haven't seen these.
This is my favorite one. This is the one that I want to keep out of the ones we've got. So nice white Alta t-shirt. Very clean, very crisp, super soft. And
we haven't designed shirts yet.
Yeah, we haven't done really.
Which is
so
why
we've got just logos.
Our test prints are just logos.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's a black Township Tale t-shirt.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For anybody who is monochromally blind. Yeah.
I don't.
They're all large sizes, so they're probably too big.
They're way too big for me. Yeah. I need to like double in weight. So are they? It's just Township Tale.
It's just Township Tale. We got a black Alto.
So there's one of each, I presume, or is there?
The white ones are only Alta shirts. This one I think is a black Alta shirt.
Yeah, okay.
And yeah, we're just kind of testing how they print on different. The thing that's good about the Alta colors is that they're so.
They're
quite diverse, and they're not like hard.
Well, that one's got a weird edge on it.
Yeah, so that's one thing we noticed. You got a bit of a white edge to it, and the white one doesn't have that. So
it's white. So.
Yeah. Or you don't see it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's those kinds of things that we look out for, just to make sure that if we do end up having merch, that it's actually pretty good merch and not kind of t-shirts that you'll feel embarrassed to wear a little later on.
Like some of the Township Tale shirts that I own currently.
Oh, like
the one with all the logos. The one from PAX. We got sponsored logos.
Yeah, this is sponsors all over the place. It's like a Township Tale esports player. So yeah, that's kind of doing stuff.
Yeah.
Sol is also working on some things. I think you're probably the best to elaborate on that.
So probably coming next update, we're going to be rolling out some bigger sort of overhauls. It was something that we've been doing a bit more recently, as you know, with our gameplay videos, is we've been experiencing sort of the onboarding process of Township Tale, and even and we know a Township Tale, so we know where things are, and it's obvious. Look, we're not trying to fake it. We're not going, ooh, look, it's a sandstone bridge. Like, we know it's there.
Yeah, we're never surprised by the things we come across.
Oh, it hasn't bugged out yet. Yeah, but Sol has been playing not only with us in that video series, but also with a friend who is new to the game. So he's been sort of observing what the reactions are there, and they're playing on their own private server. Oh my flipping eyes! I don't know what's going on. I think I scraped it. Anyway.
Just keep one eye closed.
Yeah. So he's I can't do that. He's been playing with him and sort of observing how that's going, and what it's really helped us do is sort of start making some decisions about what's more urgent to fix up that experience, and especially if we do want people to be finding it fulfilling to move to a private server, we need to be making it so that early game progression makes a little bit more sense. But also, one of the big things is making it not super exploitable. So, for instance, right now you can race to mithril pretty quickly, and it actually makes a lot of the early game content, like copper tools, iron tools, fairly redundant. There's almost no situation in which you want to make a copper tool because you get iron so early, and even red iron is better than that. I'm sure you can ask him more questions later on, maybe when it comes out, to get a bit more sort of thought behind the changes. But basically, we're smoothing things out. A lot of ores will be rarer, and
ores I think is where a lot of changes are probably going to happen.
Yeah, and there was some skill tweaks, like archery is a bit easier to get skills in, stuff like that. So a lot of that will be coming. There's a fair bit to it, but it's also a work in progress, and it's also something we'll want your feedback on and your thoughts on, so we can iterate and improve.
I mean, that being said, we are going to give it some time to breathe, just to see what the new people will think about the changes, as opposed to
there's definitely,
as opposed to all of us who are used to how things currently are. And
definitely, I imagine people are going to be like, "Oh, why is mithril so rare? I used to be able to go to layer 20 and mine some mithril, but now I'm on layer 50 and it's still rare." I can answer that one right now. The reason is mithril is meant to be that rare thing that you can't always afford a mithril tool, but sometimes when you can get mithril, like, it's really good. And if you can afford to make Evanon steel weapons, then that's even better. That's crazy good. But you might find yourself falling back to silver weapons at some stage. Like, it might not be sustainable to always have mithril weapons. That's the answer to that question. Other questions, let us know. Anyway, I think that's... What are you doing?
I'm trying to get my laptop to charge, but this thing is like...
That's not charging.
The light's on, it should be charging.
I mean, the symbol says not charging.
I know, what the hell? Okay, just keep talking about stuff. I'll try to fix this.
Okay, well, anyway, so it wasn't Boramy, because he doesn't drink milk. But I think it's one of the other people in another company. It's not someone in our company, because no one in our company, it happened today. It happens all the time, but it happened today. And there's way less people in the office than usual due to coronavirus fears and people working from home and stuff. So there's less potential people. And I know it's not Boramy, and I know it's not Serena, and there's no one else in our company in the office. So it's, unless it was Boramy and he's good at hiding it. But was it you, Boramy?
No.
Okay.
You smell it if I drank the milk.
You spewed the water on me. I'm doubly grossed out.
I can keep a straight face on that one.
Anyway, so after this, I'm going to go and yell at people.
So that pretty much wraps up everyone, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's talk alchemy and things to do with alchemy. So one of the things that, as you may notice in the current game, we have very few flowers. I could probably name the 3 places you might find some.
I thought you were gonna say I can probably name the one flower in the game on one finger.
I mean, yeah, I know there's the one in the tunnel towards in the giant collapse tree that leads to the Goteras.
Oh, there's like an art flower.
There's like an art flower.
But you can't.
Yeah. So we've got some art flowers.
There's the flower in the main menu.
There's the flower in the main menu.
And then there's heart flowers.
There's heart flowers, and there's the heart. There's the one that you wear, I guess, the cosmetic item. And there might be some on like on the lily pads. I think there's a chance for there to be some there. But those are all unfunctional and non-aesthetic. The reason we don't have more is because we actually want flowers to be an item in the game. And a big part of flowers and the whole foraging concept that we want is going to tie into alchemy systems.
Yeah.
And alchemy is going to be probably it's actually most definitely how you're going to make the teleport potion in the future. And it's going to have all sorts of other effects, yeah. Also,
invisibility, maybe. Let's name some. What's these aren't all confirmed. This isn't us confirming. This is just us spouting ideas. Like invisibility, speed, maybe, or
speed. I can imagine potions to have like a benefit and a downside to using them.
Yeah.
Kind of like, if you drink too many potions, it makes you sick and it's like toxic to you.
Yeah.
Or others can have some crazier effects. Like I can imagine one that is like a rage potion, and when you take it, you're really powerful, but your vision changes in a way that you can't distinguish like allies and enemies.
12 o'clock.
And so you just see these like shapes, or we turn like every enemy and every player into like this dark creature that kind of hurts you, and you're just going to want to fight whatever's in front of you.
Yeah. And potions could have quality spectrum, so maybe if you make a really good one, you get more of the perks and less of the downsides. Yeah. And if you make a crappy one, you're just a blind person who's now only borderline stronger.
Rage potion, teleport, invisibility said.
I ran out of ideas.
Some physics altering ones we thought about, like adding something to like an item to make it bouncy. And
yeah. So I imagine there'll be things like, in my mind, they're like powders which apply to items rather than to players, and they could do things like make an item bouncy or like zero gravity or.
Things that aren't
glow in the dark, that sort of thing. Like if you make your weapon glow in the dark, that means you can lose it and you can easily see it and go get it. Or
so that's going to open up a lot of things. And alchemy is kind of something that we've talked about a lot. People don't really know how we plan to implement this, so we're going to shed a bit more light on that today.
I might have talked about it sometimes.
That's fine. I think we're fairly aligned with what the plan is for it. So basically, the reason we didn't do it immediately, because cooking stews is kind of like alchemy in some ways. If you think about it conceptually, ingredients in a cauldron and you get like a special effect. But we wanted it to be a little bit more precise, a little bit more scientific, and a lot more prone to error.
A bit like chemistry class.
Yeah, pretty much like chemistry.
Hogwarts.
So if you think about like taking basic items and extracting like compounds and chemicals from it, testing to make sure that you got that process right, and then diluting it with other things.
And some of that's just going to be observation, like it's green
like
now, or it's bubbling, so I know it's boiling.
Or it's like cloudy or something like that. Yeah.
Where some you're going to have to do a bit of testing.
Yeah.
Maybe like classic things would be like indicators, like a little drop of this makes it red for a split second.
Yeah.
And that, if it's got this compound in it, but if it doesn't, then it's gonna do nothing maybe. And that way you can be like, well, before I do this next step, I need to make sure it has enough of it. Like I've heated it up enough so that this drop will turn it red, but not turn it dark red. And
the measuring liquid could impact your potion, so you may want to do that on a different sample, for example. And so there's all this infrastructure that's going to be required for you to try and create stuff. And we really want it to be this thing that you can really learn how it works and be really good at, like, measuring things and actually looking at the labels on
Yeah.
like flasks and stuff like that to make sure you got all your numbers right. And the way it's all going to interact with each other is that chemicals have, let's say, attributes, and so you may have A and B, and we used this exact example before we came on the Altacast to make sure that
we're going to talk about
the
same type of
alchemy.
Yeah.
But then you add this thing that's like a catalyst, and suddenly, it enhances this C attribute, but then it takes A and B and turns it into F. So then you don't have anything of A and B anymore. But F could be something far more drastic that you didn't want at all. So gauging all these things is going to be, I think, a fun part that should inspire the inner scientist in you.
As an example, say these attributes don't have names, and they might never have names because they don't really need names as such. They just need ways that you can identify them. But like some of them might be really obvious attributes, like heat might be an attribute. But you might crush up some bones, like a mortar and pestle sort of thing, and then you mix it with water, like you have to stir it in so it dissolves or something. And then it happens to have a lot of chemical A. And to make a teleport potion, you might need to get a good balance of G and F. And bones happen to be really good for making teleport potions because it has a lot of A and C, and if you put D in it, it converts A to G and it converts B to F.
Yep.
I can't remember what I'm saying.
And it doesn't create unknown things, maybe.
But, well, it's really good because you put this catalyst in and pretty much the bones make a teleport potion, but the downside could be bones also have X, which with this catalyst turns to Y, and Y could be deadly to you. So bones make a teleport potion, but if you want to do it, it's really hard to get rid of the poison, the Y, so it's better to try and get rid of the X before you put the catalyst in. So you find a way that you can convert X, and it could be that there's an extraction process that can actually get rid of that, or something else that just neutralizes it, or converts it to something else which might do something. Like maybe the easiest thing to do is convert it to something that weakens you a little bit, but it's better to be weakened. Like it's way cheaper to just convert it to this weakening compound than to remove it completely. And if you're teleporting back to spawn, you don't really care if you're a little bit weaker, as long as you're not dying. And so you do that process, and then you put the catalyst in, convert it to that, and now you've got your teleport potion. And that's really simplified. That was just bones and one, but it might have a lot more
stuff
involved.
Which should lead to you making those interesting kind of decisions as to you decide what kind of mixture you're going to use to make this particular thing. And the thing I love about watching everyone play Township Tale as well is that on like certain servers, like different bits of knowledge spreads. And I imagine that this is going to be really good for that, where on like the US server, for example, everybody uses like something that makes you weaker for the bone stuff, but then like maybe people on EU or something found this like maybe slightly longer extraction process that has a different thing, and that's what everybody uses. And so when someone says, here, make a teleport potion with this, like on a server where it's like, I can't make it out of this, what do you mean, I need this other thing?
And I think it'll also tie into kind of abundances. So different servers, we talk about this a lot, different servers will hopefully have, over time we'll see more different sort of economies come out. Right now there's not that many resources, and there's pretty much no super rare resources. So most servers, they all have the same wood, for instance. Like there's whereas even already in the forest we're seeing, I guess we've talked about, on some forests we see that there's like birch trees are really rare, and on other forests there's a lot of birch trees. Likewise, these sorts of components like bones are pretty common, but different flowers might be fairly common on one server but rare on another server, and so it might not be economical to use this flower for a teleport potion because it's so rare, but you want lots of teleport potion. Or it could be that you use it for teleport potion, and you just have to sacrifice the fact that you won't be able to make this other potion like speed potion because you've used it on something else. So it not only does it tie into like the fact that there's a lot of experimentation to find ways to get where you want, but there's also going to be
the economics of it.
Yeah, the economics.
Yeah. Which should be super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool in general, just the fact that this is probably the first thing you can really explore in a Township Tale.
On the mechanics level, on systems and mechanics level, Like crafting has a bit to that, but at the end of the day, you're kind of just swinging your weapon. But with this alchemy thing, you're going to be able to really discover stuff and
you could legitimately discover something. Like we're going to be putting stuff in, and we're obviously going to have use cases and things in mind. We're not going to just throw in chemicals and go, hopefully they can make a teleport potion with this. We're going to obviously find a nice route, and we're going to design it so that there's a reasonable route to making teleport potions. But we might deliberately tie in downsides into that route. Like, yes, here, as I said, we might do that bone example where we've designed a way to reasonably make teleport potion, but the downside is you get ill when you make it, or you get weakened. But then you guys might surprise us and come out with a way to make it quite like efficiently without getting sick. Like it's genuinely a way that you guys can explore, and from our side, we're just going to provide you with the tools to do that, with ways to detect what components are in there, ways to try and convert pretty much any component to other components in some sort of way. Lots of different ways to get each component. Like, it's not going to be that component A can only be gotten from bones. You're going to be able to get it from bones, or get it from flowers, or get it by converting G to A, and then G you can get in a whole bunch of other ways, or whatever. I'm really excited.
It's going to be...
When is Alchemy going to come out for me? When are we going to start working on it?
Like, I know Timo wanted us to work on Alchemy, and we said no.
Did you say Timo? Or
Timo.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to come after Forests, for sure.
Maybe...
No. I don't think with... No.
Just for clarification, we're not working on this.
No, we're not working on this at all.
I think I did do a prototype at some stage on a stream, which is why I say I've talked to some people about this. But it's not something we're working on officially. There's sort of the end game process that we want to move towards. Alchemy doesn't super have a role in that, but we know that as a system, it has so many doors that it opens for exploration of the mechanic, that it's actually a pretty valuable thing to have in the game, just because it'll be fun to do. It's also the sort of thing we can add to over time. So it could be the case that we do a rudimentary version at some stage, and then we, for instance, mortar and pestle. Is that how you say it?
Pestle.
Pestle? You don't say the silent T? Okay. Might not be something that exists at first. You just boil some water and throw a flour in, but then later we add that in so that you actually have to grind up things before. We can add bits in, and we could add new attributes and add new...
Because there are quite a lot of item interaction things for it, the way that you might want to treat a flower for alchemy is completely different than how you might treat a monster part. So, depending on where that goes, it can mean a lot of different things.
As we've mentioned in the past, we do want to add more obstacles and challenges and goals and journeys and quests and adventures sort of thing to the game before we add more weapons and skills and
armor and
powers and armor. Basically, we want to buff up the world before we buff up you. And so, I guess it makes sense that alchemy falls more into the buffing up you side of things than it does into the buffing up the world. It doesn't actually benefit the world in its quest to kill you or slow you down in any way.
But yeah, so that's Alchemy. And yeah, hope you enjoy. If you've got any questions about it, hit up the Q&A thing below. We can answer a little bit more on it next time. And speaking of Q&A, we're now going to move on to the Q&A.
Let me get my phone.
And I will pause the video. Q&A with Boramy and Joel.
I told Serena that someone drank my milk. And
you said it very loud?
And she's, no, I should have. She's like, you should have put the Alta logo on it.
See, that's what I told you to do. With tons of business cards that we never use. Q&A time.
She was not surprised.
I need a bingo card for the Q&A. One that has like a question about...
Oh yeah, let's do it next Altacast.
Next Altacast.
Yeah, no, don't mention what we're gonna write on.
Yeah.
We're not gonna tell them. But yeah, but I like that. I hate mobile phones.
Yeah, mobile phones are not good. Timo was just asking me about whether or not we were recording the Altacast actually.
I think this is Altacast number 9.
9? Yeah, I thought it was 9 as well.
Come on. I don't know what the URL is.
Okay, once he's working on that. To elaborate more on the forest progress, because that's the juicy stuff, is that pathfinding is what's giving us woes, and we're solving that.
Yeah.
One bug at a time.
It's quite difficult because we want the forest to be very sort of dense in its generation. Like there'll be rocks in the middle of the path or stuff like that. So you, as a player, players don't use pathfinding. They don't. In some games, players do actually stick to a nav mesh. Whereas in our game, that we don't stick the player to the nav mesh, so it doesn't affect the player as much. But sometimes enemies get a bit stuck. What do you plan on doing for farming in game?
Farming is going to be an entire process of just growing and processing food, and we would like both, like vegetable crop farming and livestock as well.
The way I envision it is that farm plots are like house plots.
Yeah.
And so there's it's like a grid pretty much, and then you till the ground or you dig for big seeds like a tree seed, and then you throw seeds in and you water it, and then you look after it and make sure the spriggles don't eat it, and then you pull it out if it's a carrot, or you chop it down if it's a tree.
You get a giant scythe and you
scythe it if it's wheat.
Then you roll them into hills with your tractor.
After the forest, what would be the next major addition? This would be on my big bear card. Oh, I said it. After the forest, what would be the next major addition, area or otherwise you'd add to a Township Tale? Is this?
We're not entirely ready to talk about that. Pretty much, is it? Yeah, we're gonna keep that a secret for a good long while, until Joel and I are at least working on it and we're a lot more comfortable with where it's going, and then we'll update you on that. But there's nothing planned at the moment because it's promising a big feature like that and then maybe not being able to deliver. It's not something that we want to do.
This seems like.
Is the app just not working?
No, it feels like the same questions as last time. But maybe it's not. When is Flycam coming to server owners? The big restriction there is right now you don't select what type of game mode you play in any way. The way we do it is through a console which players don't have access to. So there's a bit of just functionality, like selection there that doesn't exist. Probably the way it will work is by joining the server via the launcher, which is a feature I'm not sure if it even works. I don't know actually. Where you click on the group on the side, you select the server, and then you join it that way. So I need to fix that up in the launcher. Once it's fixed up in the launcher, there's not much stopping us putting it in. It's just a time thing.
Yeah. Because we don't have a huge amount of it.
I work on a Township Tale a lot in my spare time, but I also try and, relax sometimes. So a Plague Doctor outfit. Maybe now is not the right time for that.
No.
How do you envision house building to be? Have we answered these questions?
I feel like we have. Well, I mean, I'm going to assume there's someone new, but pretty much it's going to be labor intensive, resource intensive, end game. Your friends can help you build it, but you're probably going to be the one planning it, so that they don't place walls where you didn't want walls. And there's going to be a range of, and it's going to be a way to, like, I guess, share ownership with someone if you wanted to. Yeah, that's all we're going to say. If you want to know more, I think you can skip through some of the other Altacasts and
look at Mantax's comments.
Yeah.
He's done time stamping on a few of them.
And he's done on all of them. If
all
not, I'm sure he'll have done it by now.
You better, Mantax. We're relying on you now. Do you plan on adding any new skill trees? Correct, we do.
Yes.
Any possibility for follow-up cosmetics, for example, a tiny bird that can follow you around?
Most likely not. Things like pets we want to keep in-world, because there's going to be a bit of a process to acquiring them.
You get that net, you catch that little bird.
Yeah.
You beat it until it's broken its spirit.
Until it develops Stockholm Syndrome, and then you just have it follow you around.
Done. What ideas are being thrown around? That's pretty much Pokemon when you think about it. Anyway, what ideas are being thrown around for a new enemy and or boss? See last Altacast.
Yeah.
In terms of boss, we're not going to talk about, we're never going to talk about a boss before it comes out. I feel like a boss is such an exciting concept that
we just want you to stumble.
We just want you to see it. Well, obviously you can spoil it by looking in Discord when it comes out, but at least for those, when we release it, we're going to tell you there's a boss, and then, I guess it's up to us whether we want to post a picture of it, but I feel like the surprise and the nowness of it is at least way more exciting than us talking about it now and it not coming for a while.
That's the main reason we hide things, by the way, is because it's exciting to, for you guys to see it, and it's kind of like coming out of left field with this awesome thing.
However, if you do like spoilers, you can become a supporter, check out the Supporter Spoilers channel, and you'll see all sorts of things like the forest progressing. End plug. So frayed farmer's hat when? What does frayed? Oh, a farmer's hat that's frayed.
Yeah, maybe once farming is more of a thing. I don't know.
Maybe once Stringer models a frayed farming hat.
I think
and puts it in the store.
I think I'm making that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've told. I've spoken to Tubi.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's the hat that used to be in the game. There used to be a version that.
Okay, yeah. Where will the entrance to the forest be?
It will be past the fields. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I feel like I drew this on the board once.
Yeah.
In a video.
But pretty much, past the area where you see the camps. It may be a bit beyond that. We'll see. I'm feeling like I've got less space than I thought I would in between the fields and where I want the forest to be. So it might just be directly connected to the camps.
Yeah, there also might be more than one forest. There might be little forests as well or something. Probably not too big forests, but it's the sort of thing. It's all because it's all procedural. We could literally.
We could surround everything in forest if we wanted.
We could literally move the forest in an update. Like we could next update the forest is on the other side of the world. Yeah. I lost where I'm at. What is your plan to integrate armor on top of cosmetics?
That's a tough-ish thing. The main thing is, I think, your hat and things that are like on the really far outmost jacket layer are probably gonna disappear.
When your armor appears.
When your armor appears. And your armor is probably gonna appear when you're in combat mainly.
So
but
you'll
your
I'll see
underlying,
my shirt, I'll see
you'll see your shirt, your vest, most of your armor stuff, like arm level.
And only where armor is. So
Only
if
where
I don't
armor
have
is.
a helmet, I'll keep my hat.
You still have your hat, yeah.
It's almost
and like obviously if I'm wearing shoulder pads, like things on my chest.
It's as if armor was a cosmetic and you put it on. Like if you put on a helmet but not a chest plate, you would expect to still see that, just like swapping out a hat. It'll be like that, except it only shows when you're in combat, or maybe in some sort of armor editing mode. Shmichi plush when?
No idea. That's merch is hard to do, so it's hard to say.
Are there any bugs that we have kept as features? The fire bug? No.
Let me think. I know a lot of them we try and tackle because we prefer it to be an intended mechanic where it can have when we have a bit more control.
People say keep bugs as a feature. Don't understand development. If a bug is happening, it's because fundamentally, as a programmer, you have screwed up and given control to the chaos that is the universe. When a bug happens, you always fix it. If a bug happens and someone looks at it and goes, "Oh, it's pretty cool that if you hit this thing super hard, it goes flat." Like the shovel thing, that's not really a bug. But if it were a bug that some miscalculation happens that sends something flying, and you're like, "Damn, that's really cool." The shovel one is probably not the worst example, because if it proves to be too much of an issue, then we would rewrite that code to deliberately launch objects.
And then we can control it, and then we can have
can
parameters
control
that
it
affect
to
how far it goes, like
Yeah.
maybe how you crafted it, the length of your handle, all sorts of things.
Yeah.
But we can't do that if it's a bug.
Yeah. A bug is literally you saying the idea that there's a feature in your game that you don't control is an awful idea. It just, Like Boramy goes, "Oh, Joel, hey, can you tweak that feature?" "No, I can't. It's just a bug." When will we get Boramy's hair in a shop rotation?
We do have outfits that are planned for all of us devs. Eventually we'll get to making them, and that will include our haircuts. Yeah, and they will be for sale.
I gotta settle on a haircut before the video. Before my
We're not sure if we're gonna do it like a Boramy outfit and a Joel outfit, or if we're gonna do like Alta Dev's hair pack, Alta Dev's shirt pack, and stuff like that. We don't know how to.
Joel pack, come on. What? As if we do it out of Dev's hair pack. Do a Joel pack. Then we can show
just how plain.
Who is the ultimate. It's like a $2 Joel pack.
It's the most plain a character can be. Blue jeans and grey t-shirt.
No, I thought we were going to give me fingerless gloves. Some really that have
ones,
really
the fluff that comes
off. That's coming off them and stuff, because it's what I wear in winter, and Boramy hates it.
It's so gross.
It's just lint. It's just anyway. Really liked the title's idea. I don't think this person knows what a Q&A is.
Thank you, though. Appreciate it. Feel free to leave compliments like that in the Q&A anytime.
Feel free to leave questions as well. What will we be able to dye armor?
Armors are going to start by using materials, obviously. Dyeing maybe well and truly after armor's already come out. Just once we see what it's like, what kind of tech we've used to make it, and seeing if we can apply painted textures. Because we don't want it to look like, that it was iron, but now you've added resin and it looks like red iron. Like, we don't want it to look like the wrong material. So we like the look has to be pretty deliberate if we're gonna let you dye it. It's not just gonna be like a color palette swap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When do you think that new sword skills will be added? We kind of covered this before.
Probably once we're ready to buff you guys some more.
Yeah.
Like ideally, we find lots of ways to buff players without just giving you straight up better equipment. Like things like skills, I think are cool. Like diverse ways of fighting enemies is cool. But we're kind of skeptical about giving you a stronger alloy than Valiant, for example. So yeah, that might be the order in which you see things is alternate methods of fighting before you get just outright better equipment.
Will there be bow crafting? There is wooden bow crafting already. You can get the recipe in the chiseling thing. It's a 18 long recipe, 18
wood
wedge recipe, and it gives you a wooden stick that you attach dried grass to, and that will give you a bow.
But I do think we are going to end up with some slightly more complex bows in the future, particularly when Forest comes out. I think we're going to be very
and different wood types,
different
bows.
Yeah. And which part of the system it plays in, we're going to discuss probably pretty soon.
When might there be more hair cosmetics?
We've got some new things that we want to experiment with hair.
Soon.
So there should be some soon, or like a couple soon. And then we'll see. If hair is the thing that we kind of want there to be a good amount of diversity in hair, and long hair is something that we kind of are afraid to try because it might look weird if with the way it deforms around the character. We don't really have the tech to make it behave with physics so that your hair sways if you've got long hair. So we've got to do a bit of R&D on that before we really make hair.
Let's just smash through the next couple questions.
Yeah.
New phone, who dis? Joel. Hip tracker support. Probably not. Like VR's a really small market. Us spending time on things like feet tracking or hip tracking, it's not a quick process. Like I'm currently sort of in my spare time been trying to integrate Live, for instance, which is mixed reality support, and it probably has around the same amount of people using it as hip trackers do. And I was told it was plug and play, and I probably poured in well over 10 hours worth of time trying to get that working, well over. Nothing is ever like a 2-second job. And if I had the question, would I rather spend 10 hours on that or spend 10 hours on Forest, I would pick Forest. Yeah. Where will the entrance to the forest be at?
Ask the guy who asked me the question.
Merch when? We kind of answered. We didn't, but it's
no
a work in
timeline.
progress.
It's going to be slow. It's going to take a while.
We want to get good quality, but affordable merch.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about Township Tale being called RuneScape VR? I haven't played RuneScape in so long. I haven't played the new one. I don't know what it's like.
I don't know what it's like either. I played it when I was like 13.
I find it a bit of an honor in that RuneScape was like a cult sort of following game. Like I know heaps of people would get their friends to play RuneScape. I know it gets a bit of like a flack now where people are like, oh, it's got bad graphics or it's an ugly game.
Yeah,
or whatever,
it depends a bit on, I don't entirely understand which aspects. Some people might say that for different things, but I think the big part of RuneScape is the zero roll, like roll lockdown thing.
Yeah, it was a really...
Like you just level up the skills that you're doing, which I think is what people see, and it's freeform in that way, which is I think part of what people see.
I think RuneScape was really beautiful in the sense that like you could explore this world, you could venture to places, you could go visit your friends, you could be the miner in your group, and you didn't have to choose to be a miner when you first signed up. You discovered that you liked mining. Like you did the tutorial and you did a bit of mining, and you're like, oh, this is kind of cool. But as you play the game and you found the like dwarven mines, you found out like I really like mining or whatever.
I used to mine just to trade for gold coins, for gold.
And there were like secret passages, and there were like abandoned houses, and you would be like, have you found the abandoned house? And you're like, no. Like there's so much discovery. That sort of part is really relatable to a Township Tale, I think.
I just got a flashback where I just started playing RuneScape.
You walk and the tree hits you and you die.
Like I meet these two guys who are wearing who are just like a couple tiers of armor above me, and I party with them to go into the wilderness to go fight stronger monsters, and then they just trap me in this abandoned house, and I try and run out the door, but there's a guy outside who keeps closing the door whenever I try and open it, and meanwhile the other guy takes out his sword and just kills me and slays me and takes all my stuff, and then I come. There's that image of me appearing like, you know, when you die and you've lost your gear, you're like just this naked dude in the plaza. And everybody kind of looks at you and is like, oh, another lost soul.
Leg update when? No. Will there be different coloured trees with different coloured wood handles? Yes, different wood types have very different coloured looks, both internally and externally, so they're going to look quite different when you
cut them down.
When you cut them down, when you craft them,
when you chisel them.
And they'll have different properties like durability, etc. How's your day going? Well, someone drank my milk.
Today I was pretty tired.
Yeah, I've been very tired.
Been a bit low energy.
My eyes sore.
Yeah. That's about it. Slow going, just staring at this pathfinding stuff all day.
We had GoTerra's lagging the hell out of our editor. Not the game, only the editor.
Yeah.
We've tracked it down to something that we can't control.
Yeah.
Really, it's something in Unity, so now we're just thinking of disabling that part of the GoTerra whenever we test in the editor. But like, it's been a pretty quiet day.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks for asking.
Yeah, thank you. How's your day been?
Oh, great.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
It's good to hear. Or I'm sorry to hear that. I hope it gets better for you.
Damn man, that really sucks.
Like better luck next time.
My day was like that yesterday.
Yeah. Okay, so that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep, that's Altacast number 9. Thanks a lot for watching.
Once again, in the description, there are links to stuff like the next Q&A.
Something we should do is we should have a list of all the questions that were answered somewhere on like a spreadsheet or something.
And every question ever, and the Altacast that they're in.
Every question that we've answered. Oh yeah, and the Altacast that they were in, yeah. So it's pretty much a database of the questions, so people can look back and find the stuff easily. So that way...
But some of our answers are really long. Maybe it should just be a link to
the
video.
No, it's just a link to the video, but they just need to know what questions have been asked. So that when they ask you a question, they don't ask the same question. And then we can all lose a bingo next week, or next fortnight. Alright, peace, bye-bye. Don't forget to subscribe and like and all that stuff.
Become a supporter.
Yeah.